Calcit is a guard. Thorns is a sniper. Angelina is a caster. You've probably heard at least one of those statements before, and while on paper they are incorrect, in practice there is some truth to them. Back when the game first launched, the classes were for the most part well defined. A guard would deal big physical damage but not be the best at defense. Defender would be able to block and sustain many enemies but generally lack the DPS. Medics would heal, casters would deal big arts damage, so on and so forth. Of course there were exceptions like Silver's skill 2 being good at defending, Sire offering strong healing skills, or aforementioned Angelina offering strong arts damage aside from slow, to name a few, but those were mostly bonuses on their well-defined roles, and this has been the case for over a year. Then we got Eunectes that has high defensive stats but also high attack and can only block one enemy outside of her third skill despite being a defender. Next was Aren, who prioritizes attacking air enemies as a guard. Blemishine and Madruk, who are both defenders that can deal some serious damage. Calcit, who feels more like a Centurion guard than a medic. The list goes on. We've been getting so many operators that blur the lines between different classes to the point where the main distinction are the chip requirements. Hypergriff even introduced official class branches to organize those changes. Since then we've been getting branch-specific modules and trainers. There are even branch-specific relics in Crimson Solitaire. So why is this happening? Only Hypergriff knows the real answer, but it is rather apparent that it would have been tough to create well over 200 operators while adhering to the design restrictions imposed by having 8 classes. Another reason could be the contingency contract. Some of you might remember the infamous double whammy of 4 class bans in Pirate Gorge during CC4. While those dailies were on the easier side for the accounts with already developed rosters, the newer accounts could have found themselves struggling as they lacked the necessary options in the remaining classes. Granted, we haven't seen those risks since then, but we have seen risks that double or even triple the DP cost of 3 or 4 classes. Not as bad as a full-on ban, but still quite demanding on the rosters. Cases like this are where having operators in multiple classes that can do similar things comes in handy. While this shift in the operator design is understandable, it isn't without consequences. Namely, it rendered some early operators redundant. The class that got affected by the most are medics, due to many operators in other classes either having strong self-sustain or straight up offering good healing. Nowadays, the medics that hold up the best are the ones that offer additional utility on the top of healing. Another example of an operator that suffered in the process is Pramanix. While she offers some of the strongest debuffs in the game, many DPS-oriented operators now have their own debuffing capabilities, and there are other buffers and debuffers that are way more versatile than her, making her impractical to use in most cases. Is there anything that can be done about this? When the modules first got introduced, they seemed like a possible solution, but the story here is complex. We've seen the examples of modules giving operators new properties, like Doberman becoming deployable on high tiles, as well as multi-target medics and splash casters getting an additional range. Then there are the higher module tiers that either improve the existing operator talents or give them new properties. The problem is that those additional properties are not always useful, and in some cases the modules remove niches of specific operators but giving others in their branch the same abilities. Reed is a perfect example of this. Bagpipe, Granny and Wildmane got a module that makes them gain 2 DP on kill by default, which used to be a unique ability of Reed when using skill 2. Meanwhile, the module that she received is bad, to put it lightly, and the higher tiers of it are not any better. This also puts the overall balancing of the game into question, but that's a subject that goes beyond the scope of this video. So while the classes are here to stay as a form of distinction for CC risks, trainers and such, they have effectively lost their meaning and got replaced by branches. This change perhaps inadvertently exposes the growing pain of the game's design process that Hypergriff has to keep in mind. They are doing a reasonable job for now, but there are already operators that have raised some eyebrows within the player base, to put it lightly. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, kindly like and subscribe and check the links in the description below. See you next time.